Let it begin! All right, easy place to start. WWE star Chris Benoit. Talked about a little bit ago, the Canadian crippler. This scumbag killed his wife, killed his little 7-year-old boy, waited a couple days, thought things over, wanted to determine if, in fact, that real life was fake like the so-called sport he participates in, realized it wasn't, and so he hung himself or hanged himself. That's another thing. By the way, let that English grammar feel the sting of the blaster there. Hung himself. No, it's hanged himself. That's confusing to me, and that's why grammar is a jerk. I was a little side one there. But anyway, I don't want to get distracted. Chris Benoit, he kills, double homicide, then kills himself. And the WWE, how many W's did I put in there anyway? They, instead of doing their usual Monday night TV show, whatever it's called, I don't watch much WWE these days. I tuned out pretty much around the $1 Million Man. Glorious time. Either way, instead of that, they did a 3-hour tribute to this guy, Chris Benoit. A 3-hour tribute? Ted Bundy? What kind of thing is this? Paying tribute to people. Chuck Manson? Is he next? It's ridiculous. I'll tell you what. You don't have to take 3 hours to pay tribute to somebody. I want to give you a little something, and believe me, it's not going to take more than a second and a half. Hey, WWE, you're a jerk! All right, speaking of criminals, Mel Hall, you may remember him, the old Cubby, played for the Tribe a little bit, the Yankees, so on and so forth, back in the 80s and 90s. And he apparently is also a scumbag because he molested, or allegedly molested, a couple of girls, 17 and I think one under the age of 14 or around the age of 14, which he might get put away for the rest of his life for doing this, while he was coaching their basketball team. Classy fella, but here's the thing that bugs me about it. The Houston Chronicle and a lot of other newspapers, I don't know how it's germane, but when they talk about him, so you identify him and say, yeah, he played big league baseball for the Cubs or whatever. But then after, on the heels of, is accused of allegedly committed sexual abuse against a couple of minors, raped them, so on and so forth. Hall, this is the line from the Houston Chronicle, quote unquote, Hall played in the majors from 1981 to 1992 for the Cubs, Indians, Yankees, and Giants, where he hit .276 with 134 home runs and 620 RBIs in his career. Why are his statistics involved when they're talking about him raping little girls? What? How are his professional baseball statistics germane at all to this criminal case? I'll tell you what, here's the only statistic that matters. Houston Chronicle and anybody else who reports on his statistics when you're talking about him raping minors. You're a jerk! One jerk. I don't know, how do you score that? Jerk one. No, don't jerk one. Anyway, do whatever you want to do. You're going to be in jail all the time. You can jerk yourself all you want. Anyway, speaking of which, I am a more righteous Sauron, like I say. Atop my tower, the eye sees all. But just the same, I like to lean on you from time to time. You, the Urukai, the people who help me seek out the jerks and bring them to justice. If you have any nominees for future reference, call the Jerk Hotline, 412-921-9379. Got a few calls of interest on the hotline this week. First one from a regular contributor from Seattle, all the way from Seattle. He's a Seahawks fan, but we look by it anyway. His name's Bill, and here were his thoughts.
Dave D., it's your boy Bill from Seattle again. It was the jerk from last week. And I want to call in and say that your buccos from Pittsburgh are jerks to the entire city of Pittsburgh. They were beaten by Jeff Weaver. Jeff Weaver was 0-6 going into that game with an 8-some ERA. And your lowly buccos get beat by Jeff Weaver? He's the trashiest person in our town, our glorious town of Seattle. If you get beat by Jeff Weaver, come on. I don't hit as well. I hate him. And I got to say, your buccos are jerks.
Fair enough. Bill bouncing back from making the jerk list himself last week. He tried to leave a message on the hotline, somehow disparaged the Steelers and the referees in Super Bowl 40. Of course, I had to take him down with the blaster. Nice to see he was able to come back from that and take down the buccos. That's good news. Anyway, next up, we had a little talent show last Friday night, and everybody did pretty nicely, I would say. We had Popeye in there singing some song from a musical. And the Ed, one of our callers, he did some impressions. We'll get to those in a little while later in the show. so on and so forth. For the most part, good reviews. Elaine, the cab driver, played the piano beautifully. As a matter of fact, we got to play that later in the week, too. Name That Tune by Elaine. Anyway, the only one who came up short was Elliot, the intern. This schlub, too busy working the all-you-can-eat buffet line to come up with a talent for us to hear. This is what he did on our show. Take a listen. So with that said, then, Elliot, take it away. What was that? And then this. Now, you may have noticed that on the sports contraption, I like to use my family and friends. Why? Because I don't think so-called experts like Ron Cook are insightful at all. All they are condescending to us, the Pittsburgh sports fans out there, telling us, get over it. You think Coach Cowher shouldn't go to the Browns? Get over it. Talking to us as though we're children and crazy for not wanting to see him go off and coach the Browns, who are our so-called rival. I'm tired of that sort of crap, and I'm tired of these curmudgeonly media types telling us what to think, and that because they hate their lives, that they decided to go into covering sports and realize, oh, I don't like doing it that much, and so they take out their bitterness on all of us. I have no interest in that, so I instead employ the likes of my relatives, like I say, and some of my friends, Richie and Irv, our baseball experts. Uncle Mike comes on and shares his thoughts with us. Little nephews, Ben and Zach, call in to share their thoughts on hockey and the Pirates and so on and so forth. Anyway, we got this call on the Jerk Hotline. Take a listen.
Yeah, I want to nominate Dave Dameshek for the Jerk of the Week, just for the regular callers he has. Richie and Irv, horrible. They step on each other. And for the rest of the nepotism he has, your sister, horrible. Cousin Brandon, hideous. Poetry, his music, it sucks. Dave, let's do away with it. Let's get on with the show. If you want to call your relatives, call them on the weekend. My God.
First of all, he didn't execute the task properly. You must finish it by saying jerk. But the larger point is this, sir. If you don't like what the sports contraption has to offer, I got a little something for you. First of all, let me turn the tables on you, first of all, and say, you're a jerk. But more importantly, this is the first time I've ever had to do it on this show. No, the second time. I did it, I think, in the first or second week, and now I'm going to have to do it for a second time. You, caller, anonymous caller, are hereby banned from the sports contraption, not just for this week, but for all of time. That's right. Turn your radio off. You're forbidden to ever listen to the sports contraption again. Shame on you. Go listen to whatever filth you want to listen to. Do whatever you want to do elsewhere, but don't do it on the sports contraptions time. That's right. Radio off, never tune to this show again. Banned. Shame. Anyway, all right. You know what? I'm heated up. It's time to give out the Get Out of Jerk free cards. I like to mix a little sugar with the vinegar every week here. Now, the Get Out of Jerk free card obviously buys you out of any future jerky behavior. You play it, and you're back to square with me. This week it goes to Vince Young for this magnificent analysis of Adam Jones. Not Pac-Man Jones. I'm tired. He's too much of a criminal to be named after a cartoon character. Adam Jones' troubles, how it affects the Titans. See if you can count how many times Vince Young says at the same time. Take a listen.
And his guys over here, we love him a whole lot, but we feel like he don't care about us right now. But at the same time, that's his issue. He got to take care of his problem. And at the same time, we want him back here, coming back over here playing and, making plays because he does a whole lot for our team. But at the same time, us as a team over here, we feeling like, man, do he care about us over here? And at the same time, he got to, stay out of trouble. He got to watch his back out there at the same time. But like Coach Fish said, that's his issue.
Well, I count 5. That's fantastic. And do he care? I do care. That's for sure, Vince Young. I care about you. And Titan fans should be very pleased that you're so good at clock management, doing all those things at the same time. Do he care? I care. Also, another get-out-of-jerk free card to an NFL team, the Chicago Bears. Yeah, Tank Johnson, the man who's spent a little bit of time in the clink there. And his bodyguard got killed a little while back, and he keeps getting into trouble with Johnny Law. Well, he saw fit, in spite of all this trouble, still being on probation, to go out and drive around at 3:30 in the morning and get picked up for a DUI. And what did the Bears do? They cut him. They released him. That's right. He's probably on his way to being a Pro Bowler, but they kicked him to the curb anyway. I like this. The Cincinnati Bengals raise their hands and say, what are we supposed to do? We're being profiled. What could we possibly do with these guys? Do like the Bears do and kick these bums to the curb. No. Instead, stay the way you are, Bengals. Be the scumbags. Live up to down to the expectations we have of you. You're not our rival, but you are scumbags. But I'm not going to focus on you right now. Kudos to the Chicago Bears for kicking Tank Johnson to the curb. You get one of the get-out-jerk-free cards. Also, now, let's get back to the jerks. I hate to do this. This is a Pittsburgher, but on my flight, I'm back in California for the week, and as I was getting on the flight, my lovely bride, Miss Cindy, and I were carrying little baby Lemieux Crosby onto the plane. Now, she's all of 7 weeks old there, and she was quiet as could be. Darling little girl, carrying her onto the plane. And there were a couple of Pittsburgh women, a couple of yinzers with that curly hair that looks perpetually wet. You know what I'm talking about? It's like something out of a White Lion video circa 1987. You know that look? And this woman, there are two women, and they were one was wearing a Big Ben Roethlisberger T-shirt, and the other one had some sort of Pittsburgh something on it. And they have that crazy hair, and they were hideously ugly. And the one woman looked exactly like Buster Poindexter. Buster Poindexter from the New York Dolls. You know who I'm talking about. Anyway, but now, currently, 2007, old and haggard looking, but really looked like a man, but was a woman. You could kind of tell from her voice. And she said to her friend who was sitting right next to her as we were getting onto the plane, "Hey, I hope those people aren't near us on the plane." And her friend reprimanded her, maybe her life partner reprimanded her, like, "Oh, come on, she's a cute little baby." And so I said, I couldn't help myself. I said to her, "Guess what? The feeling's mutual, fella." And she gave me the stink eye, and I'm pretty sure she didn't understand what I just said or that I was talking to her, because that was the end of the conversation. She seemed like the sort who would probably get up and sock me right in the mouth there and in all likelihood be able to take me in a fight. But you know what? Stop embarrassing the city of Pittsburgh. Getting on airplanes and taking... It's like the people out there in Asia that are eventually going to take the bird flu on the plane and spread it all over the globe. Stop embarrassing the city of Pittsburgh, running around with that ugly puss like Buster Poindexter, talking the stupid, closed-minded crap that you talk, and embarrassing all of us. No wonder people don't want to move to the city of Pittsburgh with crap like you. Garbage. Junk. And what else? Jerk! All right. Now it is time for the Creep of the Week. Popeye. We got to start that again. I got to sing it, of course, you know. Let's go. Let's redo it here. What gives? Popeye, please. What gives? I'm not in the studio. I can't sing along with it. You have to do it the other way, please.
Dave, I apologize deeply and sincerely. I got rid of that other recording.
Oh, I see. All right, I'll try to sing it, but now I've had to put the delay, the half-second delay, that because when I'm out here in California, it delays my singing, and so it makes it sound like I can't keep the beat with the Imperial March. All right, one more time. I'll try to do my best to match up with it, but I'll probably be a split second behind the song. Go ahead.
Much appreciated, Dave. Thank you.
Crepe of the week. He or she is the creep of the week. How'd that sound? Was that a little delayed
spectacular. There? Yeah, a little bit. It was cool.
All right. Anyway, listen, I hate to do this. Well, I don't hate to do it. It is what it is. 2 weeks in a row now, we've had Dave Littlefield on the list. And I warned him the first time 2 weeks ago for drafting Daniel Moskos, last week for lying to us and insulting our intelligence and saying, oh, we got the player we wanted. Yeah, of course you wanted the lefty relief pitcher who got shelled in college instead of the guy who's a big bopper in Matt Wieters, who's likely to become one of the great sluggers in Major League Baseball. But, yeah, no, you wanted Daniel Moskos because that's what the Pirate organization needed, was another left-handed arm. Anyway, so that was 2 strikes against him. And I warned you, Dave Littleshill, stop covering up, stop covering for the Nutting family, and face the music. Have some dignity, man. Where's your professional integrity? No one thinks you're a good baseball man because you have to keep lying for the Nuttings. Anyway, so he does all that, and now this week, in the midst, I told him 2 strikes, you get a third one, you're going into the Creep Hall of Shame. You go into the Hall of Shame, you go in there, you never get out. Ask Barry the Creep Bonds. David Eckstein, the Bachelor officer and a gentleman, Greta Van Susteren. I told him, well, this week, in the midst of a 5-game losing streak, 13 under 500, 12.5 back of the Milwaukee Beer Makers, what did Dave Littleshill say? He said, our bunting has gotten better than last year. Our bunting has gotten better than last year. Shame on you, sir. That's right. You're going in. Lock him up. Stay in there all day, you bum.
Until next time, don't be a jerk.